Hello, friends. I am Alysia Reiner. I am on the board of Earth Day Initiative, and welcome to the 2025 Earth Day Initiative virtual stage. I am so excited for today's conversation because I am also an ambassador with Plastic Pollution Coalition, and we will be joined today by Amelia Hanson from Plastic Pollution Coalition and Sarah Yarkin, who's another ambassador. So, welcome, beautiful, incredible women.
Hey,
Hi.
so great to be here with you both.
Me too.
Yeah. So you're both part of our Flip the Script on Plastics project. That's a plastic pollution coalition project that's designed to help the entertainment industry divest from single-use plastics, both on set, in the storyline, and on screen. So I'd love to hear from both of you how you're able to incorporate some plastic-free practices into your life, and your work on set.
Ooh, that's such a good question. The way I see it, I am not only a storyteller by trade, but how I live is a story, right? And every day I think about like, who am I being? What am I doing? What is the story that I am telling? So for me, in reference to plastic, that means I bring reusables everywhere I go, always. I always have reusable silverware. I have a really cute bamboo set that I love. I always have my water bottle. I always have my coffee cup. Um, and people do ask me about it a lot. And every time they ask, they're like, oh, wow, look at your silverware, and there's also a straw in there. So in the living is the practice, is the story. And what I always like to say, especially when people say, well, people don't really recycle anymore and all of that thing, is if everybody did this, it wouldn't be a problem. And there is no problem for me. It's so easy. And the other thing that I'll say is it feels better on my mouth. Like if I say, hey, it feels better on my mouth to be drinking from glass or metal or from, if my bamboo silverware, or sometimes I actually have a vintage like sterling silver set from my great grandma that I carry around in a cute little pouch.
Oh.
It feels better on my mouth than plastic. And people are like, oh, I never thought of that. So it's not about blame or shame. It's just about sharing practices.
Yeah, I love that. Sarah, what about you? I know you school spirits wrapped recently, and you've talked to us some about how you're incorporating some plastic-free practices on set. Can you tell us some about
Yeah,
that?
well, I love what Alicia said. It's not, I mean, when you go to set, it's, I think, a very wasteful environment. The norm, the practices are like, here's a plastic water bottle. And I think with COVID, even craft services, everything is single serve. Here's a plastic bag of 4 nuts or whatever. And I think as an actor, I don't feel like I have much control over anything, but I think the little things I can do of going, hey, I'm going to bring my own water bottle. Hey, asking producers for more refill stations for water so we're not just pounding plastic bottles. And it feels like an old practice. It feels like something from many years ago, and yet I'm on set months ago and we're in a hot room and they're giving every single person a plastic water bottle. And
And
it takes
I love,
everything in me not to like,
Yeah, flames on the side of your face.
yeah.
and I'm sure you find this too. Like as many times as I say, oh, I don't need the plastic cutlery, they always bring it and I always give it back. And same with plastic water. I just say like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't do plastic water bottles.
Yeah.
Um, and as hot, and I've always been that way. And then I'll also say, like, if you're gonna do plastic, may I kindly suggest that people write on their water bottles that it's theirs, because otherwise one person ends up having like 10 plastic water
Yeah.
bottles.
Yeah.
And I won't drink from plastic at all, but it drives me crazy seeing other people. So
No, same. And we had a producer and you get little wrap gifts, whatever, and she gave every single person a water bottle with the show name on it. And I drink from that every single day. I drink more water than I normally would be. It's an amazing thing. And everyone on set had theirs. And it was such a thing of like, what a smart gift that we can use every single day that encourages people in a not preachy way to bring their own stuff. You know, I have my little bamboo silverware set that I've been carrying for like 10 years. I should like deep clean it. But I bring it, and you know, I live in New York and you put it in your bag on the train. You just making that extra effort that doesn't feel like a big effort at the end of the day. But I think getting in that habit and that routine of like, this is what I do.
And
Yeah.
my thing, I love coffee. Like, I'm a huge coffee fan. And I will not drink coffee or buy coffee unless I have my coffee, like, my reusable mug. And it really helps me bring it. That those times when you forget, you're like, oh, but for me, it actually helps me to sort of punish myself when I don't do it?
It gets you
Right.
in a habit and there's that ownership. And I think part of the problem is some people don't understand how toxic these plastics can be and the breadth of the issue. I mean, we even talk about recycling. People think, well, I'm recycling, that's good, but the truth of the matter is plastic was never designed to be recycled. The plastic industry just wanted something to do with all this extra fossil fuels they have. It's cheaper to make fresh plastic than it is to recycle it. And really, that's downcycling and it makes the plastic more toxic. So, we can wish cycle all we want, but if we're using reusables, we're just eliminating plastic from the world. And that's going to help us in our health. It helps the environment, it helps our animal friends. There's so much plastic around. So if we can just start with less plastic bottles, that's a great step. And I know, Sarah, you're saying sometimes it feels a little helpless when you're the only one on set doing it. And a lot of people can get bogged down by that individual need there. But if we're all each doing a little bit, it really can snowball into a larger impact. And that's part of why it's so important for Hollywood to do this, because we know the impact you all have of just the small actions you do on screen. Millions of people see that, and it's a really big impact, and that's important.
I love that you brought that up. And like three things that you just said that I really want to touch on. One is microplastics. Like, we're all reading more about microplastics. And yes, the truth is you do get them from water bottles. Like, that's part of it. Number two, how we work on set and the whole joy of flip the script of on camera when we're on sets, suggesting that there be no plastic, suggesting that people use reusables as part of the storyline. And I think that's one of the amazing things about Flip the Script. Number three, and this is so important that you briefly touched on, but I really want to say again, because I like saying this very loud and proud. As we divest from the fossil fuels as energy, the fossil fuel companies are going to come for us with plastic. They are going to beg us to use plastic in every way they know how. That is how they work. That is how they make money. They're going to dig their claws in and make pretend that plastics won't hurt you, won't hurt the environment, are deeply recyclable. They're going to tell so many lies, so many stories that are not true. And we, as humanity, need to divest from those lies.
Yeah, exactly. The plastic pollution industry loves to lie to us. They learned from PR with cigarettes. They've worked in tandem to feed us a lot of lies. And I think one of the biggest things is the idea that either plastic is cheaper for us and also that plastic bottled water is somehow healthier than your tap water. But the thing is, most plastic bottled water is tap water, but then put into plastic, and that makes it less healthy. And as far as the cost, sure, a stainless steel bottle at first costs more than one plastic bottle, but you only have to buy that once. Each plastic bottle, you have to rebuy it, and that cost adds up. You buy one stainless steel bottle, it can be good for your whole life.
And here's something I think I know the answer to, but I really want your professional opinion about. Even water in boxes have plastic liners, right? And those can't be recycled.
It's true. Both boxed water and even aluminum canned water, there is a plastic lining in that. And to recycle those, they have to burn it. And as soon as you burn plastic in any form, that releases toxic fumes into the air. And that's bad
And
for all.
raises the temperature of the planet.
Exactly, exactly. It's just not good for us. And there are companies that are trying to develop liners that are plastic free, made out of seaweed, made out of mycelium. There are solutions that we're working on. And it still is a little bit better to use an aluminum if you have to do a single use item, because it's less plastic, but it's still lined with plastic. And the best option is always to go with glass or stainless steel because there are no toxins in there that are going to leach into your body. And like you said about microplastics, they're finding them in breast milk. They're finding them in testicles, in our brains, in our lungs. Microplastics are everywhere because plastic is everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'd just love to know a little more about how you all see we can maybe wrap these into our storylines. As we're ending the conversation, I know Sarah's been in some horror stories. Alysia, you've been a villain in a few things. And like, how can we make plastic the villain in our stories?
I love the idea of like literally a fossil fuel company or a plastic water bottle being a villain on a like I'm gonna pitch that to Marvel. I'm fully gonna do it. I'm in.
No,
Love.
I think there's such a world. I've been reading some cli-fi, I think they are calling it. My friend's like an amazing author, and she wrote this really gay cli-fi futuristic thing. And the reality is, I mean, we just saw the fires in LA. It's not that far away of a future. It's now. And there were scenes from the book that I'm seeing this right now outside. And I think I think we should be putting this into storylines that are in very grounded. Like, yeah, we could do sci-fi stuff and we could do crazy whatever, but let's see the actual harms of plastic now. Like, how do we convince people and show people how horrible this is for you without being preachy, but being real?
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 We
And
want to show
the
people
one
in
thing that
reality.
yeah, the one thing I do want to say about that is we're in a place as storytellers where we have told so many dystopias. And I believe as humanity, we live into our stories. So it's so important that we tell protopias, that we, not utopias that are unattainable, but protopias that are stories we can live into. So, yes, we have the villain of the fossil fuel plastic company, but we defeat them, and if we tell that story as a piece of art, it's possible that we can live into that story as well.
Ah, that's perfect. I
I
love.
love that. I think just one thing that I was just remembering, the whole flip the script thing, I think we have to tap into this dialogue that's always happening, right? Between what we see on screen and what is happening in real life. And how do we encourage the world we want to see, right? In not a preachy way, but just being like, we can all bring our glass. We can all bring, oh, you can't see it. There we go. My blurred glass. You can bring your water bottle. These things that are just subtle things that we've seen in Right Abbott Elementary and shows of how do we just make that a normal thing that then can like they real life and the screen intertwining in a way that just encourages what we want.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's perfect.
Love it. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been such a joy. And I hope everybody checks out Plastic Pollution Coalition online and look for some Flip the Script scripts soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.